Wow, what an amazing event.
I agree. It was perfect.
Yes, but yeah, let's scan for more questions. I don't seem to see any new ones. Do you, Mary?
No, I know we lost some people. I know everybody was at work, so
Yes.
it was tough to fit in such a long event. But we will be getting it out to you, to everyone who signed up and participated. I think we said by Monday, if I saw
Yes.
one of the notes, a little editing possibly, but overall it was, I thought it was a fabulous panel. Everybody was just right on point. And this is such an important subject. You know, the idea that there are so many connections. We had actually been contacted by some people before this, just from the publication and the social events that we sent out, that this is what they had. They had a moral adoption and they didn't know what they had. They didn't know how to call it. They didn't know what it was. But I think there are so many foster parents who have made this connection with these amazing young people that come into their life, and they are not given, again, any validity. They're not treated like real parents. And that has to change. That really has to change. Because people who make these commitments, and the kids do not want to stay in foster care. They don't want those monthly visits. They don't want to be in court every 6 months. It's torture for them sometimes. They have to see people that were abusive to them, possibly. And so they deserve to get out of care, have a much more normal kind of life. It's still different. You know, my kids had to explain a white mom, but you know, they always came up with an explanation, you know, and they had great stories about all the dads that were involved in our lives. But regardless, they had fun with it, but they did not want the social workers involved. They did not want people to know they were in foster care. And it wasn't necessary. Once I realized what they needed, they could have been out. We really could have been out.
Well, Mary, thank you. Thank you not only for today, but your ongoing contributions to the field, for the panel and bringing all these amazing guests together. We're going to let you go, and I'll pass it over to Board Chair Juan to close us out.
Thank you once again, Mary, and to everybody else, to all of our panelists and speakers and contributors. I want to also thank the YGB staff and the board and our partners and stakeholders. Two other people I want to close out as I began, thanking them again. Amanda, bless you, bless you, bless you for pulling this together and dealing with all the details I could not. And you've all heard everyone say Tech more than once. Tech is actually a person. His name is David. It's been great. Thank you, David. Thank you, thank you, thank you for so much and all your efforts. Thank you, JP, for being a wonderful leader for us. And last but not least, I definitely want to thank the people who stuck with us throughout this symposium. Again, we're clear there are other things you could be doing, but you chose to stick with us. And we really do appreciate you for that. And to that end, we do have a call to action for you. And JP is going to tell us about that.
Yes, but before we move on to the call to action, because Juan will not take credit, but this event was actually his idea. Coincidentally enough, after a meeting at Children's Village, who you just heard from Jeremy Cohumbin, and we were talking about YGB's mission and how do we discuss this further, how do we create a platform, and out of that conversation came this, and it's so exciting to see it come to fruition, thanks to all the hard work of everybody on our team. And we do have a call to action because we didn't anticipate for this to be just a flash in the pan. We want this to be the beginning of an ongoing conversation. And so we're asking three things. So we have a sort of a three-pronged approach to our call to action. First, if you know of a young adult who is about to be discharged from foster care and you or they do not know where that young adult is going to live, commit to helping that young adult find a permanent home. So this goes back to our previous discussions about the village raising the child and really being part of a community that's raising up our youth. So that's one call to action you can take. A second call to action is, we can go on to the next slide, contact your state official to include moral adoption under KinGap and to qualify foster parents as kin. And so for more information within your own state, we'll have a link dropped in the chat that's actually from the Children's Bureau that'll provide detailed information for each state. And if you still need more guidance, please just feel free to reach out to us at You Gotta Believe through social media or at info@yougottabelieve.org. And then finally, another call to action, our third and final call to action, is to look for and participate in You Gotta Believe's next opportunity to re-engage on this topic. So we do plan to do this again in some capacity, whether it's a work group or another forum or another panel, but we do want to continue this conversation. So with that, I want to thank all of the attendees for joining and engaging. Definitely want to thank all of our speakers and our panelists and for sharing your expertise and your personal stories. We really appreciate it. We could not have done this event without all of you. Thank you. And one more thing, I do want to acknowledge, I saw Susan Grunberg in the chat. So it's just always exciting when we have all of You Gotta Believe's executive directors in the same space at the same time. So thank you to Susan, thank you to Pat O'Brien, and thank you again, Juan. Bye, everyone.